Survivor's ready.
If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
The queen stays queen.
You said Russell Feathers.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
We have great bananas all the time.
Dude, my prize isn't even $1 million. My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace.
You officially go down as the dumbest survivor ever.
Welcome to Not Game, All Personal. Hey, we are a Survivor podcast here to talk about all things Survivor. More specifically, the finale of Season 50. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. And Tony, this is a big one. Hear that excitement, folks? He's ready.
I'm so ready.
Great. I'm glad to hear it. That's. I'm
so
convinced.
excited.
I'm convinced.
You're convinced?
Yeah, you convinced me. I wasn't sure. I'm going into this episode. I was like, how excited is Tony actually? But now I can tell. He is ready
Yeah,
to
that
dive into
wasn't-
everything.
Sarcastic moves at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got a decent amount to talk about, I feel like. We have two new members to the jury, the final three, some just generic reunion show snafus. Honestly, there's more to talk about than I initially would have thought. And I think we're recording this 2 days after the finale aired. I don't know if you've seen any of the exit press. I
Some
feel
of the exit press, I think.
I think there's stuff for us to discuss here. Like, I'm actually excited to talk about it. As lackluster as I felt when it ended, I'm like, I think I have conversation for Tony.
Okay, I'm excited. I feel like you're always more locked in because I'm like, for that first day or like that night morning, I'm like avoiding everything. And so I feel like I missed that initial like rush of like all of the information.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like you always break something to me where it's like, oh, I didn't know that happened, or I didn't know that they said that. And it's always fun to learn what's going on and who's got beef with who.
Yeah, there's definitely some beef. That's for sure. So I'm excited. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I mean, I guess like let's just start with the obvious. Congrats to Aubrey, right? Winner of Survivor 50. Again, you're not convincing me that you're excited. And I'm assuming that's just because this was a fairly predictable win in our eyes. I think going into this episode, but for most of the season, and I don't know. It is just like she did it. She did what she we thought she did what. Let me back up a little bit. She did what we thought she would do. And I think that's just like the best
I
way to
almost
say
want to
it.
go back and check because I feel like we clocked pretty early that there was something going on with her. Like we pretty early we're like, oh, they're giving her some like special attention here. What could this be? I wish I had written like I knew what episode we did, but I feel like it was like early merge at least, if not pre-merge.
Mm-hmm. I think it was before that. I want to say, like, my guess, without knowing for sure, would be like episode 3. And I think it was just because there was just, like this extra attention given to someone who wasn't as involved with the gameplay. And that continued the rest of the season. You know, by the end, it was just obvious where it's like, okay, why is she starting off the episode talking about her losing her original season? Like, that doesn't have anything to do with what's happening on the island. So, like, those are the clues I think that, like, we are just too locked in. Because I think the other things that, like, we were absolutely locked in about was Jonathan having a pretty compelling resume at the end, but not winning the game. I think, like, that felt fairly obvious to us.
Yeah.
And also just, like, sitting next to Joe. Like, I think episode 1, it was, like, take Joe to the end, you know? Like, that is the most obvious person you want to sit by. But... yeah, I mean, let's backtrack a little bit, and then we'll get to just I think what led to that decision of Aubrey winning the game. Because where we started this episode off was the final 5, where going into it, coming off of last week, Tiffany seemed to be the biggest threat for the remaining players. And it was really, is she going to win immunity one more time? And it was close. You know, Jonathan barely beat her. It was by, like, seconds. And I don't know. Like it seemed like her exit was pretty obvious. You know, they did try to fool us a little bit with the like, well, maybe they'll go for Aubrey instead, and it did seem like Aubrey would have been
Mhm.
the backup plan. And so I think it is kind of interesting that by Jonathan winning immunity, it secured Tiffany's fate, secured Aubrey in the final four. My biggest question is there a world where Jonathan loses that immunity to Tiffany? They vote Aubrey out instead. Is Tiffany actually a big enough threat to win if she's sitting in the final three?
I think so. And it's partially just I think Cerie has so much sway with that jury, and I don't want to give all credit to her that Aubrey got as many votes as she did, but I think as like kind of the legend that she is, I think she does have a lot of sway in that room, and she's obviously a Tiffany fan. And I think we've said for a while, like Tiffany's playing a good game, and it pretty clearly feels like they're not giving her credit for conversations that she seems like she's a part of. Like it felt like she, if out of anybody in this final grouping, she got like the lowest, the smallest edit probably, except for maybe Joe, but that's because there wasn't really anything there. And so I think that's part of it. Like I think, yeah, if they didn't want, I wonder if they didn't want people to be super pumped about her, or they want to be rooting for Aubrey. I don't know. It's interesting because it felt like she was doing more than they told us she was.
Stephen Fishback actually had an interesting tweet about this. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago, where he predicted that Tiffany would come in 5th place. And I meant to go look into this more, but he suggested that the person in 5th usually gets this type of edit where, because it's the finale and you have a lot to get to, they want this first tribal council to be somewhat straightforward, but not like a fan favorite necessarily. So like someone who has
Yeah.
a quieter screen time but is an obvious target. So like, and I think that it's exactly how it played out, where
Yeah.
half the season Tiffany is not being shown to us. So we assume, oh, maybe she doesn't go far. Maybe like I predicted at least like she like maybe like early merge boot, you know. Um,
hmm
but last episode, all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's like she's a threat to win the game. And it's like, wait, what? Like no one's been saying this at all,
Excuse
and all
me.
of a sudden,
Yeah.
so I think like that does add up, and that's probably just like knowing that she came in 5th, and it was kind of obvious. Like there wasn't really any drama or tension involved with this tribal council. Well,
Mm-mm.
there was drama, but there wasn't any tension about like who would go. So like they're like, yeah, let's just not really give her that much of an arc for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was the drama was just her being pissed and making arguments that didn't super line up, but like yeah, there wasn't any action. Like there was never any other option. I felt like it was always going to be her.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Did you see any of her exit interviews since then?
No,
So
no.
apparently, what led into her coming in real hot at Tribal Council was a conversation she had with Jonathan,
Oh, yep,
where
that sounds about right. When has that ever happened before?
um, and because like her argument at Tribal was basically like, why am I the threat? You know, like why me? You're telling me it's like because I, you know, win immunity challenge. Well, look at Joe has the same record. Look at Jonathan here, right? You're telling me this, that. Like I don't understand. Apparently, what wasn't shown is Jonathan straight up told her it's because she's a girl and they don't want to sit with the girl at the end because he's worried that the jury would vote for a girl over him to win the game, which is why it was like Tiffany and Aubrey the pecking order. So that's
Huh.
I haven't seen him comment on that, but that is what Tiffany said. She said he also threw out that the records for individual immunity wins in a single season is different for men and women, which is true, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's at 5 for like you know, I forget who has it. Maybe like Joe or someone,
Early
but like
on. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
oh, even earlier. Okay, so like you know,
I think
see,
it's tied by a lot of people.
a single
Also,
season
the
for
way
a
you talk.
women is only 4 wins. So he was saying that I guess like his logic, and this is me just kind of reading in between the lines, is that there are different standards for threats. Like for a woman, it's easier to be a threat because she doesn't have to win as many immunity wins. But for a guy, you can give some more. So like her and Joe are not the same because Joe will have to win more to get the record. I don't know. I think you're tracking, but
Yeah.
so I don't know. Say what you like. I'm not trying to like. Obviously, I got my bias against Jonathan, but that definitely explains
No.
more why she was very upset at that tribal.
Yeah, when she brought up the like, oh, I have 3 immunity wins, so does Joe, so why doesn't that count? That was like, all right, now you're just being like you're not like that's just that there's a difference between you and Joe. You know the reason that Joe's not a threat and you are. And now you're just like and if that's the context, that adds a little bit to why they're focusing on that, if that's what was communicated to her. So that actually helps a lot because that was a question. That was one of the few things I had to like be like, what was that? What was that thought that she had? Because that doesn't seem to check out at all for me. So that is
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, and I think it also just like like one, it's not surprising, and I don't want to just like paint this as like Jonathan is just like against women or whatever, because like on paper, like taking the emotion aside of it, like I see what he's trying to say. I just think like if that's what he said, that's not what you should say to like
No.
a juror, like, and I think that is kind of the beginning, not the beginning, but I think that's like one example of like his jury management where that is the exact opposite message you want to communicate to like someone that is going to vote for you to possibly win $2 million. Like even if that's what you're thinking, even if that is your goal, like if that is true, you just don't want her in the end simply because she's a woman, like whatever, I guess. But like to say that out loud, that is not like that's not gonna work for her. And so I don't know. It's kind of weird. I understand why they didn't show it to us, because that's just not going to be helpful for anything. But she's telling people that, so I don't. I'll be curious to see if he has a rebuttal or like if there's any clarification moving forward of if whatever.
Yeah, I do see like the argument for the threat she was, and I think knowing that Aubrey won, I do think Jonathan should have been more a conversation of how much of a threat he was. And we'll get into this in a little bit, but I wonder if he got a fair shot genuinely from the jury. Like I feel like he played a better game than they gave him credit for. And that's like a question mark that I have after this. Like, was he really given? And I know that he's upset about it, and he's posted about like, oh, why I think I played a better game of Survivor, and I don't know that I would fully say he's wrong in that assessment. Now, jury management matters, and getting the votes matters, sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's a question mark that I have after this. Is like where does he stand? And that honestly might be something that factored in, because if Tiffany came into the jury and said like he said this, we're just trying to get rid of the women, that makes sense that everybody's like, oh, yep, frick this guy, or get him out of here. And kind of makes sense why the jury questioning was a little contentious. It really was, I think, at some points. And so, was that the only reason? Probably not. But having a little bit of that context, I think, helps.
Yeah. Well, let's just quickly talk about Rizzo so we can jump into that, because I obviously do have a lot of thoughts on that too. But Rizzo,
little teaser for later on,
losing. Well, a little spoiler before we get to the fire making challenge, which is on brand for this show.
That's crazy.
Can I ask? Did you watch this on? You watched this on Paramount? You're right. You didn't watch it live.
Yeah.
Was that still in the episode?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, because I
wasn't sure if they were trying to fix it.
Survivor, and I was like working on something because I had something I needed to get done yesterday. So I was working through it, but I was pretty focused because it's the finale. And so I was like, yesterday. And so I was like typing, and then suddenly Jeff was like, all right, and he just joined the jury. Go sit down. And I was like, I messaged immediately. I was like, did they just skip fire making? I was like, what just happened? And I was so confused. And then he was like, yeah, like I rewound, and I was like, did I miss something? No, I didn't miss anything. And so, yeah, was it surprising? It's not like we thought it was going to be a close fire making battle, but man, that's just shocking to screw that up. And probably why they're never going to do another live show again.
Well, okay, but here's the thing I think I have issue with the overall like presentation of this episode is I didn't feel like this was a good reunion in the sense of like we didn't really catch up with anyone. I mean, like the only like what Ozzy got a T-shirt and Sari got like some made up award
Lifetime
because
Achievement Award, yeah.
when she was already going to win the Sia money, but yet like we needed to take extra time to give her our own award, like whatever. Like this decision to kind of, and Jeff talked about it. Like I think he had a quote this week where he was like, the reunion isn't the fun part, it's like the live interactive, like he said something like that where he acknowledged he doesn't love the postseason like questioning people, which makes sense why they haven't done it in the past 10 seasons. But like to me this was an avoidable problem. Like maybe we shouldn't be cutting in and like bringing out people to talk about the episode while it's airing. I don't understand, like for what is it, 39 seasons, because they didn't do it for 40, but like they've done this reunion and it's been great, like it's been entertaining. I don't know anyone who like dislikes it, you know, like maybe if you're binging it you don't watch all of it entirely because you just want to get to the next season, whatever, but like I don't know. So like to me this is an avoidable problem, but I do think they're going to take the wrong lesson from this and be like, well, maybe we shouldn't do live shows anymore, and I think that's going to be a mistake.
Yeah, I'm not somebody who like loves the live reunion even, but it definitely felt, and I had heard that same thing, that he just isn't a fan of the format of doing the questions, and so his way around it was like, we'll just do little things, little segments with these people. It's like you have 24 most of them very popular Survivor players, and we hear from 6 of them maybe, and then he's like, "Hey Aubrey, you also get a car. Go run, get the car."
Yeah,
And
let's
she
have
just
2
like
minutes of her running down a hallway.
just have her leave, and it's like, all right, the winner's gone, I guess we're not talking anymore. So yeah, it felt like they were like, yeah, technically it's a live reunion, but it's like, this is not what you have to know, this isn't what we were asking for. It's just what Jeff prefers because he doesn't like doing the questions in front of everybody like that. Maybe they were nervous it would get contentious because those people are all pissed at each other. I don't know, but it was frustrating to me. I was like, all right, this isn't even what we were asking for. This is you technically listening to the fans. That's the big thing, is like they had to have known what fans wanted, and then they did that instead because that's what Jeff preferred. And
Yeah.
that's a little annoying.
My theory, and I don't know if this is true, but and of course it comes down to me criticizing Jeff. I feel
No,
like
that doesn't sound
Jeff
like
is
you.
just at this point, which like I can't blame him, where he wants to put in, and it's going to sound bad, but like as little effort as possible, especially concerning like his own personal schedule of what he commits to the show. I think like the 26 days format, right? Like very much like I don't I think this is proven now that it's like not necessarily better. Like at best
Mhm.
it's the same, but like there's no way this is a better format. I think that
Yeah.
constantly going back to Fiji, like it's just this established place. I guarantee you he has a nice condo that he stays at, you know, for those times filming,
Mhm.
which great. Like again, I'm not saying he doesn't like deserve these things, but like I think the way that it is just such an orchestrated like machine where it's like we're going to film seasons back to back so I can just fly out there for like, you know, 2-3 months and that's my whole year. And the thought of having to go to like LA and prepare for this giant live show in the off season of Survivor, you know, like again, I get it. He's been doing this for, you know, 26 years, 25 years. So it's like I understand like not loving having to like go do live TV after that, after you have like this like just very strict schedule for the past decade or so. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I think like I wish there was just like some more honesty and like acknowledging like what it is. And if that's not it, then like whatever.
Mhm.
But I think you clearly can't say that like I'm doing this for the fans anymore because I don't know. Like there's just so much to talk about with this, you know, like finale. I mean, like we didn't get to anything about like Christian, Mike White, and Angelina. Like that's a whole, you know, thing that
No.
like would have been fun to just question them at all. Like, hey, did you feel betrayed when Christian betrayed you? You know, like I'm still so mad at the season that we had zero interaction between Charlie, Q, and Tiffany, 3 people that played together, right? Like
Yeah.
Colby, did he get any time? Jenna
Mhm.
Lewis, season 1, like nothing about like Jenna. What's it like to be back at a finale? You know, almost 2.5 decades later. Like there is so much there that fans would have loved just a full hour of that alone. I don't understand why that is so hard to do, or like why we are avoiding it, other than you are worried about these players having criticism over the format, the show, or the game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a bummer that like that fear outweighs what we could have gotten.
Yeah, I hadn't even considered that piece of it. I wonder how much of it's that, because most of these people are pretty media trained, and most of them know better than to bite the hand that feeds them. So like Suri is never going to openly criticize all of the twists, I don't think. Like Christian did a little bit, but it was also like you felt like he was kind of joking when he would complain about that twist. So like there is that piece for sure, but I don't know, it just feels like it's out of convenience, or I don't know. It honestly feels like Jeff doesn't like it, and that feels like the message that has been sent. And it's probably not just him. All of these things that we blame on just him, it's hopefully not just him, because there's other executive
Right.
producers.
Yeah.
But he's kind of the face. He's the figurehead, so he's the one that's going to get the blame from us for sure. I did.
Well, and you have to assume if he isn't on board with something, they're not going to do it.
True.
You know, so I
True.
think
Or
like
at
that
least
is
they'd really have to convince him. They'd have to
Mhm.
pull him on board. There was a part of me that would be so embarrassing and so frustrating to screw that up, though. Like, so there's a part of me that was like, "Oh, I feel bad for him." And I was like, "Oh, is he the kind of person that he's gonna go yell at someone off stage, one of the crew people, and be like, 'Why didn't you stop me?' Or is he actually taking ownership?" Because he joked about it, and it felt like he like kind of took ownership of it. He was like, "Yeah, that's on me. I walked out." And he like joked about it. There was like a behind the scenes shot after they cut away, that he was just like, "So what happened?" And like the crowd was telling him what happened because he was confused. He didn't realize what happened. So there's a
Yeah.
part of me that was like, man, this big season and you just spoil something, that would suck to be him in that situation. So I did feel a little bit of empathy for him there.
Well, I also like I don't know the logistics, but like I really doubt that it's his fault. Or if it is, like it's not
Yeah.
solely his fault. You know, like I don't
Well, I
think
think he said he was like taught he was like he's not paying attention to
right.
what's actually happening on the screen because he knows what's happens. He's planning for like, okay, the next thing that's going on. All right, I'm
Mhm.
asking Rizzo these questions, and I don't think he has a teleprompter or anything, so he probably has those just in his head. Did he have? I don't know. He might have had cards to read off of. But yeah, he's not paying attention, so he might have just been like, oh, and yeah, somebody might have been like, go, and he's like, all right, let's do it. Rizzo, you got lost to fire.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I
I
didn't.
I think
I didn't do
well,
that.
cuz like here like I think I was wondering if like were they supposed to cut to Jeff and was Jeff going to say something else and did Jeff make the mistake of calling out Rizzo, or did they just make the mistake at going live at that point
Oh yeah.
anyways? Cuz I'm like I don't know what other segment they could have done. Like would Jeff have been like, "All right, and now here's the fire making," you know? Like there's nothing really for him to say. So I'm like, who was the one that made the decision to put the camera on him on stage at that
Yeah.
moment? Or was that always the plan and he messed up the order? Was he supposed to bring someone else out and talk about something stupid and then
Hmm.
Rizzo after, you know? So it's like, I don't know. There's obviously like dozens, if not hundreds of people working on this. So like, I place like not a lot of blame on Jeff, unless it is all his fault.
Yeah.
And then I do place the blame on
In
him.
which case, frick him. Unless
Yeah.
they're ever considering me for Survivor, in which case, not frick him.
Here's what I'll say though. I think this was best case scenario for Rizzo because
Yeah.
being the the only two-time fire making loser, uh, he will forever be remembered with this moment of like,
Hmm.
oh, Rizzo lost fire twice. Oh, remember that time Jeff spoiled it? You know, like
Yeah.
probably best case scenario for him.
Yeah, it helps for sure. It's tough for him because I think he did play two very good games back to back just for it to end like that. And so that being the narrative, as opposed to the fact that, dang, dude, you lost to fire twice, and then you constantly said that Survivor's different now and you don't need to do that stuff. It's a tough look. It's a real tough look.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where it's like, as the final four was shaping up, and I realized Aubrey was sending him, it all of a sudden started to click. I was like, oh, they've been laying clues the entire season. Like the amount of times we have heard people talk about Rizzo not being into camp life and him himself, like it was way too obvious. And I'm like, I feel very stupid. And so like if you're out there, and you predicted this, like, good job, because that feels like something that we should have caught on much earlier.
They didn't have any shots of him through the flames that I can remember, like they did for Kenzie in 46, and I remember that tipped me off to like the fire in her eyes. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's what Maria said, right? Fire in
Yeah.
your eyes.
That's what Marie said. There was a sorry, this is kind of off topic. There was a
No,
picture of
please.
like 20, or it was like probably like 12 to 14 winners all sitting together with like a couple other alum
Oh, I saw this,
at the
yeah.
reunion. I was like, golly, that's a lot of money, right? That's genuinely like 15-16 million dollars right there.
And
So
also
fun.
crazy that we didn't get, like, even a shot of them on the...
The word was that they
broadcast?
invited all the well, it was like most winners, and then Richard Hatch was like, they didn't invite me, and that's because it's like you're a weirdo, Richard Hatch. But it would have been interesting to like, yeah, get a shot of all of the winners that were there. Because
Yeah.
like Vestepio was there, and like Tina was that, like some early winners were
Like,
all
not
there.
even
It
Boston
was cool.
Rob, like, we're not even
Yeah.
going to give him a camera? Cochran? I thought
He
that
doesn't
was,
get to
like,
talk
in
about
his
how much he loves
contract.
Jonathan. I love Cochran. I do love Cochran.
Yeah, but that's in his contract, right? Every time he's at a
Yep.
reunion, he has to be, like, star of the camera.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was very bizarre. But yeah, Rizzo losing fire. I think, like, the obvious critique is that he possibly messed up by blindsiding both Ozzy and Suri.
Mhm.
Because I think those were two people that would have absolutely taken him to the end, but they would have beat him, you know? So I think, like, it's a give or take because, and I think this actually does play in the conversation we always have, is like, do you want, like, a
I was
big
gonna
flashy
say.
move that, like, this is exactly what it is?
the
Or do
debate.
you want to, like, push up your placement and have a chance to speak to the jury? Because I think in this moment, he recognized, I'm not going to beat Ozzy, I'm not going to beat Suri. And so I don't know if those were necessarily the wrong moves.
Mhm.
I just think he needed someone that either would have taken him or he needed one more threat. And it is kind of funny that, like, it seemed like the other three remaining people all agreed, like, oh yeah, Rizzo's going to be a threat for the jury. You know, like, I would love to see him in the final three to see how much of a threat he actually would have been. You know,
Yeah.
like, talking about his secret alliance, talking about, like, hey, I did the same thing back to back with this idol. You know, so I don't know. It's just, like, very interesting that they all thought that he was a bigger threat to win the game and needed to lose in fire. And so, like, I think, you know, I don't know. I think, like, do you keep Suri an extra week and send Jonathan to fire against Suri, guaranteeing you're sitting at the end? Like, maybe that's an option,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I think he did all that he could, except the very obvious thing, and that's he did not practice fire at all.
Yeah, and that's always been like where I've fallen in the discussion argument that we've had over and over is like I'd rather do the big moves and roll the dice that I get either win that immunity or make it to the end and have a significantly better chance at winning than just going with Ozzy and Suri because I think everybody has to know that that's a losing game and he did. So that's where I would fall, and sometimes it ends with you losing to fire twice in a row. Like that's just how it goes. Uh, but man, he improved so like he was so much more fun to watch this season. I think it's probably a pretty common belief for a lot of people, unless they were completely out on him already. But um, it sucks to see, man. It sucks to see. He needed a couple more people who were beatable to also be in his corner, and I feel like the just being out there for what would have been like 50, 60 days over like a 70, 80-day span. That's a lot to just not be eating. And so I know I've read a lot that like he would sit around camp partially because he didn't think that the camp life was important, but also because was very, very weak and wasn't a very like didn't have a lot of meat on his bones either way. And so
Yeah.
like he was struggling. And so that I like people were like, "Oh, why didn't he practice fire?" And it's like, well, he didn't have time between seasons. Like he already had screwed that up.
No, it was like less than 2
And also
weeks.
in season, it's like I have so little energy anyways. Why am I gonna pour everything into doing this when hopefully I won't have to? You know, and yeah, that's a roll of the dice, but it's how it goes.
Well, and I don't think that's like a horrible strategy either, because like there is a world where he recognizes what his weakness is. It is challenges, it is making fire, And I think his game was to try to work around that. And for the most part, it almost worked, like
Mm-hmm.
he was very close. And so I don't know. I think like the combination of those two things though, like if you're not going to win immunity challenges, you almost need to win fire because like if your assumption is like I'm not going to win any challenges, then your only way to get to the end is being taken by someone else. And
Mm-hmm.
that is a 1 in 3 chance because only
Mm-hmm.
one person gets taken. And so, I don't know. I don't think it's like the best strategy in the world, but especially coming like and we've talked about this too, like other people have had more time to process their previous season of what they did wrong. He
Mm-hmm.
really didn't have much time at all, So even if
No.
he like how much was fire actually on his mind? How much did he think he'd get the chance again? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's 24 people here. Like I got a 1 in 12 shot of making fire.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean? So it's like I don't blame him for not fixing that flaw from his last game.
No. And yeah, every day and they don't give you supplies to start fire until there's the opportunity to go make fire. Then they give you stuff. And so if you're just constantly like stealing away the machete to try like practice fire, people would notice that and they'd be like, "What's that about?" I don't know. Like I feel like there aren't that many opportunities to really start fire
Yeah,
every day.
agreed. But happy for Rizzo. I
I'm
think
high. I'm higher on Rizzo than I was before.
I'd be curious rewatching 49 if the issues that people had with him would still exist after watching 50. Like if
Hmm.
all of a sudden now you get it, and you can see what he's doing, because I think that was in 49. It was a question of like, is this intentional? Is it luck? Is he annoying or
Yeah.
good? And like, I wonder if things would click. I don't know. I don't want
Hmm.
to rewatch it right now. I'll give it a little bit, but
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, let's get into this final three. Oh, where do we want to start? Should we just like briefly touch on Joe while we're here, and then we can like get to the good
Yeah,
stuff? I mean, I
yeah.
don't know what there's to say. He's a nice guy. He's a nice man. Um, I it's shocking that he is in the same conversation with like Russell Hantz, Amanda
Hmm.
Kimmel, Michelle, Sandra, of all these
Yeah.
players that have gone to Final Tribal in their first 2 seasons played.
Hmm.
Can't say I saw that coming, but he
No.
did it. Good job,
And
Joe.
there's something interesting to be said because I think I thought saw Emily flipping afterwards was like there was an argument for like first of all, Suri just went at him quite aggressively, and that felt like a bit much. It's like, what is that about? And that was interesting. But just Emily was like, there's an argument that like, yeah, things had to go through me. Like people needed to get me on my like. There's a way to frame that. I don't know if it would have convinced people to vote for him. I don't know if he had that capability, but there's a way to frame like, yeah, you wanted to have me on board because you knew that not having me on board was going to be a problem. So I had more control in the game because of that. Like there's an argument for that. I don't think it's true, but I think you can frame it in a way that there's a bit more of an argument to it.
Yeah.
But it felt like once again he just kind of laid down and was like, "Yep, all right, I'm not winning this."
Well, I think the biggest issue there, though, is he doesn't know how to frame that argument.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
because, like, I agree. If you're saying that Final Tribal, and this is the stance I usually take, is like, you have a shot. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the jury's walking into. You could say something that completely changes their mind. Like, anything's possible. He's just not particularly great at defending his game or even like saying what his game is. And I think, part of it is like the jury, I think, was clearly in between the other two. And so he never, but then it's like you have the entire game to try to build your cases, so I don't know. I think it's just another example of like he just isn't really built for what Survivor is, which I don't know if it is a problem. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
just like too genuine of a guy to know that it's like, hey, I gotta put these other players down a little bit in order to build up my own game, and he just
Yeah,
doesn't have that in him.
yeah, and yeah. He's just not a survivor. He's not built to be like a modern survivor player. I can see him being interesting genuinely in like the first decade or first 10 seasons, but he's just not built to do this. And there's a part of me that wonders if it was I don't know. What were they expecting when they asked him to come back? Like, did they expect him to completely turn his game around? Because I just don't think he's that guy to play that kind of game. He talked about how like he was like gave himself permission to lie a little bit and do that kind of stuff, but we didn't really see much of that. We actually saw him get furious when people tried to do that still, and so like we didn't see that shift at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think they just brought him back because he was a fan favorite in 48, you know? I mean, we talked about it, but like that moment with him and Ava, like, was one of, if not the most viral moment of the new era, as far as
Mhm.
like getting people to talk about, like, did you see that awesome thing that he did on, and like, even at the
Mhm.
like, we loved Joe. Like, I don't want to, like, pretend like, you know, I wasn't a fan at the time. I think by the end of the season, I was like, oh, he's not as good as I thought he was. But like that first half, like, he was this genuine guy that was like, oh, this guy has what it takes to go far. And
Mhm.
so I understand why they brought him back, if nothing else, than to get a lot of his fans like to watch this season. And I don't
Yeah.
know if it works. Like, I do feel bad for him because I think this season was a lot more harsh on him as far as like
Mhm.
fan reaction. And I think like there's definitely been like a turn on him as far as like,
Mhm.
and again, probably a lot of that came from us too, so I'm not going to pretend like we're innocent,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Maybe not anymore for Joe. Maybe he's good.
Yeah.
Let him
He's
go
good.
be with his tall wife that he loves so
That oh
much.
yeah, well she was really tall. That oh yeah will live in my head for I still need to go back and just find that because I feel like no one knows what I'm talking about and I might have dreamt it. It's on the table.
Apparently, and I didn't look this up to fact check, so sorry, but apparently his wife used to play in the WNBA.
Oh,
Yeah, so like she is actually like noticeably tall. Like it's not just a
that she was pretty tall. And I was like, is that his wife? I think. I'm gonna find her.
Speaking of the family visit, though, I, Jonathan's brother, not at all what I would have thought would come off that boat.
No, no, not even a little bit.
I started calling Jonathan Luigi for the rest of the episode, and Elena did not find it as funny as I did. But
She didn't love that. That's a good bit. That's on her. She needs to
I
do that.
know, I was like, look at this little guy. He's like, woohoo, jumping off the boat. It's great.
That's so good. I love it.
All right, should we talk about this final two? I suppose.
She didn't play a ton.
But she did
Average
play.
3
That is
points per
true.
game. Yeah, she did play for 6 seasons.
Yeah, that's not nothing.
No, not at all.
Good for her.
Anyways, yeah, I'm proud of her.
All right, Jonathan versus Aubrey. Where do we even start here? I think what is very okay. I'm very curious to see like what the actual perception of this season is, because I feel like I'm seeing a very interesting combination of people that think Aubrey deserved the win, but I'm also seeing a lot of people that think Jonathan deserved the win.
Mhm.
And even if it's like a small percentage, like again, I would love to poll the majority of the Survivor fandom to see like where's it actually lie? Like, am I just being fed like the dramatic stuff of like, because from what I'm seeing, it feels like it's pretty split. But I just think it's such a funny season for Aubrey to win, where her
Yeah.
season is one of the most referenced as far as like she should have won, and she finally does it and now is on the other side. And her
It's very
legacy
funny.
now is going to be a lot of Jonathan fans being like, you didn't deserve your win. And who's
Yeah.
going to be there to console her? Michelle.
There is something very, very poetic about that. There absolutely is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's so tough because, like I said, I'm not sure where I stand. I'm not sure who I would have voted for. It felt like he actually had a very, very strong final tribal, which is it's surpri I thought it was gonna be closer than it was, and I think that's because specifically Chrissy and Stephanie were so, so vocal for him and were standing up for him so much. And then there were a couple people who felt like they were just trying to keep the peace and be like, all right, let's listen to him, calm down, like take it easy. Trying to like also give Joe an opportunity to talk. Like there were a couple people in that position. It was I feel like the story of the final tribal isn't even those two, it's how contentious the rest of the jury was. And they
Yeah.
were all like arguing and trying to make their point. It felt like they were selling it more than the players at some points.
Yeah, it was, which like is interesting because like we've seen it before. It's also worth noting that after Aubrey lost her original season, that's when the jury format changed to what it is today, where it is an open format rather than like the individual questioning. Which is also poetic, I suppose, because like I think some people have accused Jeff of being like Jeff is publicly an Aubrey fan. He said it like all the time. He's like, oh, she's one of my favorite players, which is I think why she keeps coming back. But I think people have used that as like, oh, she lost, so then they changed the jury format to like help players like her, and
Yeah.
maybe it worked here. Like I don't know. There's something to be said about that too. Like if Aubrey's like the only like the one of the biggest difference between her game first time and this time is like the jury format, so like that's kind of funny. But I don't know. Were you because and I don't know if it was just like me going in expecting an Aubrey win, but I didn't think it was particularly close. I think it kind of happened exactly how I thought it would, where if you would have asked me to draw out who would vote for who, I think Jonathan would have received those 3 votes. And so I don't know, like I don't know if I picked up him having like a strong final tribal. To me, it just kind of went exactly how it was supposed to, with obviously more contention than I thought, which like I think these people just don't like each other. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little surprised to hear, especially like from the internet, that people thought he had a chance, especially after that final tribal.
So, like I said, like you said, if I drew it out and put like the list of like, okay, who's Suri voting for, who's this person voting for, yeah, I think Aubrey would be my pick. But as I was watching it, I was genuine. There were points where I was like, oh, it feels like a lot of people are really fighting for Jonathan here. And now when I think back, it was just Chrissy and Stephanie who were talking a ton. And I don't even think Coach was talking that much because he was that last
I
vote
don't I
for
don't
her,
think he said
right?
anything, or at least nothing I
No.
can remember in that final tribal.
But those two, I think specifically, were super, super vocal. Um, and I think there were certain people who were giving them more of a chance than others. Like Tiffany was felt like she was very anti Jonathan and was going for like with Aubrey. And a few people like that. But yeah, I think his answers were good. And like I said, I think he played a good game. Was it a perfect game? Absolutely not. Do I think that he probably can have more credit for a lot of Aubrey's moves than Aubrey can? Kind of. That's the hard part for me. And so maybe I was seeing that and being like, he should have a better argument than he does, but nobody's giving him that credit. And it kind of makes me not like this, like, who's going to represent season 50? Can't be Jonathan. That's what it felt like more than anything else to me.
Yeah, I guess, but I think like it's the point I have fallen on is that I don't know, like I think the jurors definitely voted in line of like who were they supporting going into the final tribal. Like I don't think anyone's mind was made up. But I
No.
also think that Aubrey played a better game. So I'm like I think I'm less upset about that, cuz like I think the best way I can compare it to, I think this is actually very comparable to Big Brother last season, where it's like you have
Hmm.
people like Vince and Ashley. Like on paper, Vince has the resume. He has all these moves, he has these alliances,
Okay.
he has these backstabs. What's the one thing he doesn't have? Jury management. What's the one thing Ashley has? Jury management. And at the end of the day, like Jonathan never had the jury, like, and I think I could go line by line by almost every single person and tell you exactly why they didn't vote for him. Now, is that right that they didn't vote for him to win the game because he pissed them off? Maybe not, but like that is the game. And so it feels like and I do want to give him a lot of compliments because like going into the season I was clearly like not a fan, and he did impress me with like how much he grew from his last season, and I think he's
Hmm.
so close to getting it, but it is like this just slight miscalculation of like he knows the moves that he's supposed to do, but how he pulls off those moves are sometimes just as important, if not more important.
Yeah.
And I do think sometimes it is just like a personality thing. Sometimes it is like the charisma thing where it's like some people got it naturally, some people don't. And I think like that is a lesson that Aubrey learned. Like her first season, and that's why I think like it's
Mhm.
very poetic, because like her first season is very similar where it's like she thought she had it. She had the moves, she had this, that, but it's like Michelle had the relationships. And at the end of
Mhm.
the day, like that's what wins the game. So like I don't know, like I can't blame anyone for voting for Aubrey over him in this case.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess when that's a really good I mean all of that was a good point, but
Thanks.
specifically like going person by person. Well, I didn't want to say just one point was good. I wanted to, you're my friend. But like if I think about D or Tiffany or Ozzy, like there are people who voted against him who yeah, he didn't manage them jury-wise very well. Like, he got in a fight with D right before, he got in a fight with Tiffany right before. Ozzy trusted him a ton, and he voted out Ozzy. So, that I see what you're saying when it comes to that. There's a part of me, though, that wonders, like, how much past reputation and friendship comes into it. Because like, I feel like in a lot of ways, Jonathan was also still a victim of, like, the player he was the first time, and I think he's a significantly better player than he was the first time. But because he's not seen as somebody who is strategically making strong decisions and voting out the right people and positioning himself well, I feel like people are just not giving him the credit for that maybe he deserves for the game he played. Now, the jury management, I can see that for sure. And the three people who did vote for him were always going to vote for him no matter what. So like he didn't even really earn their votes other than he was working with them. So, yeah, that jury management piece for sure. I see that. But I wonder how much past reputation and Aubrey knowing a couple of these people and already being friends with them, how much that affected it. Like if that
Yeah.
wasn't if that didn't exist, if they were able to play clean slate and it was those two at the end, if that would how much that would factor in.
No, I mean I think that's fair, but I think
And
that
that's the game,
is
but
well that's not only the game, but I think that is what a returning season is. Is everyone is
yeah.
coming in, and so like you're never going to be able to play this game again with a clean slate. That's just part of it. And I think like we talked all the time where for the past like 10 episodes where like if Cerie's at the end against anyone, she wins just cuz it's Cerie. Is that fair?
Mhm.
Maybe not, but like we knew that. They knew that.
Mhm.
That's why they got her out. So, and I think like that's also worth noting because Aubrey pointed that out several times where she's like, I got to the end last time, but I wasn't sitting with the right people. And so, you know, like maybe Jonathan was onto something with like not sitting next to a girl. I don't know. Like, you know, again, probably not the nicest way of saying it, but I think like being aware of your reputation and being aware of other reputations, because like he has said that in his exit press too, where he thinks that Aubrey won based on her 4 seasons played, and he doesn't think it's fair. Which like maybe that's true, but like you knew she played 4 seasons, and you knew she had this underdog story, so it's like
Mhm.
I don't know. Like it's an all-star season. You can't remove those things, and you can't expect the jury to just ignore them.
Mhm. Yeah, his only I mean if he won that final challenge and he took Rizzo and Joe, he might have had a shot. Unfortunately, that's how it goes when you get to the end. He ended up against the one person I think that could have beat him. Because I don't think Rizzo does, because Rizzo also burned some bridges towards the end there, turning on
See, I
Ozzy
don't know
especially.
because again, I don't think it's the burning bridges. I think it's the way you handle it. Because
Like with Ozzy, Ozzy is never gonna vote. Like Ozzy's the specific one that's in my head right now. Ozzy I don't think would have ever voted for him, and so I wonder that's like the big one that I see because I think obviously Stephanie, Coach, and Christian still vote for Jonathan. Ozzy, I think, would vote for Jonathan, or
you
maybe
think
Joe. I
Christian
don't know.
votes
I
for
guess.
Jonathan?
Hmm.
I don't think so at all. Because do you remember what he did with the shot in the
No,
dark?
I'm trying to remember what happened there. Oh yeah,
That like to
probably
me
not.
that is another
Okay.
example of like Badger, like that is the,
Yeah.
you know, like I don't think he ever had like if I had to like the people
That's so
that
long ago. I
he
completely forgot that episode.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think like the people he absolutely didn't have would be like Tiffany D and then Christian. Like Christian to me was
Hmm.
like never gonna, and I think like that's my thing is like every single person I can point to an instance where like Jonathan was like not good socially with them, and like
Yeah.
I think like in fact I think he has a horrible social game. Like, what is his social game?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
All right,
you
I'm seeing
know.
the vision. I'm seeing the vision a little bit. Yeah, you got to get the jury votes. Yeah, when he was like, "What kind of jury is that?" He like posted a video being like, "Oh, I'm so upset. What kind of jury is that?" I don't know if that was the like sentiment behind it, but he was definitely upset. And I was like, "Dude, it's the games to get jury votes." And yeah, you're right. He looking at these, he didn't manage them well at all.
Yeah.
But I
The
wonder. I don't. We'll
another
never know how much
thing
respect Rizzo would have gotten, but that's like a big thing in my mind that I wonder how much he would have gotten.
Another thing that he said and was surprised by was D's vote, which I wasn't surprised by D's vote. I don't know if anyone would be, but in an interview, he said he was surprised because he played the entire game with D, except for one tribal council. I think the Blood Moon when Camilla got blindsided. I don't think no. Yeah. Because that was Tiffany. He blinds. D wasn't on that tribal, whatever. So he played like the majority of the game with D. D only played with Aubrey for 1 day at the merge and then went home. So he said he was surprised because he thought he would have D's vote because they played together for so long. And that was like the end of his statement. Like, that was it. And I'm like, I think that's the part where he's not understanding, where he
Yeah.
thinks simply like, I thought I had you. I didn't know I had to do like extra work to get your vote. And
Mhm.
again, I'm like, yeah, that is the game. Now, can you say like it's not fair because Aubrey doesn't have as much blood in her hands? Sure, but like that was her game. Her game was like to not get
Mhm.
blood in her hands, to take credit when she could, but then for the most part, like stay out of it because she didn't want a bitter jury. So like, it's just like this slight disconnect he has that I think if he can like work on that, I do think like this could be a winning game, but
Mhm.
unfortunately, like him being surprised that D didn't vote for him, I think is like the key to understanding why he's surprised that none of them voted for him.
Man, you're making some good arguments. I can't wait until I think of arguments against you in like 2 days,
I
and
didn't
it's
think we
not
were
gonna
gonna be
matter.
arguing. I'm honestly
No,
surprised.
I don't think it's an argument. I don't think it's an argument. But I was surprised that like it didn't feel like anybody was giving it. It's just it feels like, and this is part of the game too. It feels like Aubrey. That argument makes me feel like Aubrey relied on previous relationships and just letting the other person screw up. Which, hey, that's how it goes sometimes. I feel like many people have won just by letting the other person screw up. But that's less satisfying to me, and in a way, not the gameplay that I prefer. Now, that's simplifying her game, and I think she did play a better game than that. But that's what it feels like, is just counting on him to make the mistakes and profiting off of that. Yeah,
Now,
that's probably
do
reducing it too
you?
much to that
Well,
specific
but
thing.
here's my question: do you think he actually has that strong of a resume? Because like I don't know if there are like specific moves I can point to and be like, this was him. I think like the Ozzy vote was interesting because both of them tried to claim credit, and then they turned to Joe for validation. It's like, well, Joe, what do you think? And then Joe's like, yeah, no, that was Aubrey. So like I think I
Oh, did he? I didn't even remember that.
yeah, Ozzy asked because
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
which again I wanted to hone in on that more
Aubrey
because
convinced Joe, but that one's so complicated because it's those two pushing it, and then also Rizzo telling him not to play the
but
idol.
here's
So
the
that
thing.
so
One of
many
one
people
of
confirmed that.
Jonathan's point in that moment was I was working with Suri on the other side to get Ozzy out. When he didn't know Suri was trying to play Jonathan. So like
Yeah.
my mind is
Oh yeah.
thinking like, oh, that was a mistake by saying Suri was helping me get Ozzy out because she wasn't, and now Suri can like, she probably already told Ozzy all that. So I
Hmm.
don't know. So it's like any move that Joe has in the game, I'm not like discrediting, but like I don't think he has as strong as a resume as it looks. I think like on paper, maybe you can look and say like, oh wow, he blindsided this person, right? Like, yeah, he voted out Camilla. Yeah, he got, he rage baited D. But like I don't think it's like more moves than Aubrey. I would say Aubrey has pretty much like this a very similar amount of moves that she could claim.
Maybe. I'd have to go piece by piece. I think he deserved more credit than he got, but the goal is to get jury votes, and you're right. He burned. I'm gonna say burn bridges again. He did not manage certain jurors well. rather than
Yeah.
burned bridges. Um, so Aubrey's the clear winner. I think we determined.
You don't seem convinced, which again, I'm surprised. I thought we were going in this like, didn't we know the
I
outcome
think that
3
there's a part of
episodes
me that's
ago?
I think there's a part of me that's just so impressed with how much he turned his game around since the first time. So I think like his improvement of his gameplay is a huge piece of like why it's making why it's so impressive to me. It is funny that like his mentor is Boston Rob, who also plays a game where he doesn't manage juries very well usually. And so there's something about that that's kind of fun. Uh, but yeah, I think that's a big piece of it. Like I see the first iteration of him in season 42, and I feel like people expect that, and so they're maybe he doesn't deserve a ton of credit for the things that he did, but I think he deserves more than they were giving him. And I think that's kind of where the frustration comes in. Or the like hesitation to just fully give it to Aubrey.
Mm-hmm. I also think it's worth pointing out that I can't recall at any moment this season where he was an actual target or even acknowledged as a threat.
And
And
that's where I think his first iteration reputation benefited him. I think it hurt him in some ways because people didn't respect the things that he was doing, but it also benefited him because then he wasn't a target because no one was worried about him because of the perception of the player that he was. Kind of like how
mm-hmm.
Joe was never actually a threat other than he was annoying because they're like we saw him play the first time, we don't have to worry about him.
Yeah.
Is my read on the situation. It's kind of a positive and a negative for the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think like I don't know. I feel like we've just seen that story a lot too. I think of like Charlie's loss to me always comes to mind when it comes to that, where it's like he lowered his threat level so much that like he wasn't considered as much to win the game by some people because this was the first they're hearing of it, you know. And so like I do wonder if there's like that aspect where like, you know, the fact that like Aubrey was a target and she made it to the end is impressive. But like Jonathan and Joe both making it to the end, well, no, like I don't think Jonathan's name was ever up for consideration. You know? So it's like, can you look at him getting to the end as impressive if no one actually tried?
Yeah, it's an interesting wrinkle for sure. Yeah,
And
and that's
you can frame it a certain way at the end, but like I don't think he went with
Mhm.
that angle.
No, no, I don't think so at all.
Yeah. Cool. I'm glad we agree. Wow, this is easy.
Nah, I think Jonathan should have won. Frick you. No, I'm not upset about Aubrey. I came into this one because and one of the things I wanted to ask you was, do you think he was given a fair a fair chance by a lot of the jurors? And I think the jury management was a huge hole that I hadn't considered as much. And so I think that it's good. Like I think I'm okay with it now. But that yeah, that perception piece is so interesting to me right now. I don't know why. I think it's probably because I'm going to be running a Survivor with 18 of my friends soon, and like their perceptions going in of each other are such a huge thing, and so like it's just fascinating to me how much that impacts the game and impacts how you play.
Yeah. I mean, but again, that happens every returning season, you know? Like it
Hmm.
happened on Second Chances, it happened on Winners at War. Like that's part of the game. And so like are certain players playing with more of an advantage or a disadvantage because of their previous season? Absolutely.
Hmm.
I don't, you know, like if you want to talk about if that's fair or not, you know, like we could just not cast him and only cast like certain types of players to completely balance it, but I don't know. I think like that's part of the game. Like even on a new like like a brand new cast, you still have perceptions about certain players.
Yeah.
You know, I mean like, and I mean we do have to shout out Q, because I can't even remember her name, but on his original season, right, he clocked like, oh, she plays like Aubrey, that's dangerous, right? And
Yeah.
here now he's on a season with Aubrey who wins the game. Um,
Yep.
so like you can't help but like have these I don't know, perceptions of like people, and that's like part of what the game is. So I don't know if it's like an unfair shot. Does that answer your question?
A little bit. And yeah, it's just the nature of it, but it's still you can still be annoyed by that being such a big factor because I think it can be like I mean, Survivor's never a fair chance. If you're huge and muscular, but you're gonna be a bigger threat than the person who's kind of scrawny and quiet, but actually really smart. Like that's just there's a whole season designed around it. David versus Goliath. Like that's just how it goes. Um, but yeah, I think that matters. And does it excuse it? Not necessarily, but that's one of the interesting things about Survivor is how much do your assumptions about people or reputation, much does that actually impact it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I actually like the David vs. Goliath piece. Did you watch that exit interview with Jonathan where he talked about that? Because he did
Mm-mm.
bring that up as
Oh, really?
like a barrier to win the game, where it is an underdog game now. But like, I don't know if I agree with that, because like I do think there have been winners still that like I think like Tony winning Winners at War, like that was just like a dominant like what they call themselves that season, like the Lions, right? Like we got to keep the Lions
Mm-hmm.
together,
Mm-hmm.
like that to me. And I would even view like Kyle in season 48 along those lines of like he was not the underdog in that season. And so
No.
like I don't know, I think there are ways you can win, but you just have to be aware of your own personal perception because I think um I don't know if it was in the episode, but I'm pretty sure Jonathan mentioned at one point like Aubrey does have that underdog story, which is why he like kind of wanted her off. And I think he said the same about like Tiffany too. Um
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, you can't be trying to win the underdog game if you're not an underdog. And like
Mm-hmm.
whether or not Jonathan is or not, he's certainly not perceived as one. So I do think it just really comes down to like you need to frame your game in a way that the jury agrees with it. And if you can
Mm-hmm.
if what you're saying matches their perception and it's good for your resume, and you have jury management. So there's a couple things, but like that's what it is. And so I think like it's more
Mm-hmm.
so that like what he was saying didn't match their perception because like when he starts claiming these moves like the Aussie vote or whatever, or like other things, like it's not matching how they're feeling. So I don't know. It's an interesting conversation, and I also think it's interesting because you could look at it two ways because I do think like there were some people that were never going to vote for him on this jury, but that's the case
Yeah.
with like a lot of juries. But I think it balances because there's also people that were never going to vote for anyone but Jonathan. You know, I think you look at the three
Yeah.
people that voted for him, they were going to vote for him no matter what. I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
like, you can't convince me that they would ever consider voting for anyone but Jonathan. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think, like, it does balance because on the other side, like, maybe it's like Tiffany and Dee, but besides that, I think everyone, like, I don't know. I trust Emily and Devins and
Mm-hmm.
Rizzo to give the the contestants a fair shot.
Yeah, and I think those are some of the people who are very intentional about giving a fair shot. There were people who were very clearly going a certain direction, and then there were the couple that were like, "No, I want to give everyone a fair shot because I want to be good. I want to look back at this and know that I voted for the person that I truly believed in." And it felt like they were definitely people who were doing that.
It's also worth noting that the three people that voted for the losing finalists were also losing finalists at one point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if there's some deeper thing by it, but it's just a funny fact, you know. Actually, wait, let me. Are they? No,
One
Ozzy
person was a
lost.
losing finalist.
I think it's just Ozzy then, right? No one else
Yeah,
was a
it's
losing
just
finalist
Ozzy.
there. All right. Well, I guess I can't make any statistical analysis on that. It's a bummer.
You just say that Ozzy just listened to Suri.
That's true. That's true. If it wasn't for Suri swaying, which also I don't know if you saw, Jonathan also did accuse Suri of swaying the jury against him. So
Yeah, she might have.
he's personally going. I think in the exit interview, his statement was like, "Well, let me ask you this: was she swaying people on the island? Then you gotta imagine she was doing that in the jury too." So I don't know. It was like a half accusation without actually committing to it. So
Okay.
I would love to see them duke it out.
Oh, I think he's wrong? Not necessarily. Like, I don't know that I'm like, he's for sure wrong to think that.
Yeah.
Do I think it was awful? Do I think that if she didn't, it would have gone a different direction? Not necessarily, but I do think she definitely has the most pull in that jury house or in Ponderosa.
Did you see Russell Hantz commented on Jonathan's loss?
Yep.
Because what do you say? He's like, at least you lost to someone who played the game.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, I
Which
did
is
I
an
did think
interesting
of
take.
Russell Hantz a couple times as far as like, yeah, that's how it goes. It's not about who plays the most.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
About getting jury votes.
Is
All right.
there
What else?
anything else
What
on
other
this?
beef do we have from post-season interviews?
I think that's most of it. It really is
Okay.
The Jonathan fan club versus everyone else. Feels like everyone
Yeah.
else is like nice and tight, and then there's those people.
What do you mean by those people?
The Jonathan fan club. That's what I'll call it. I could call it another
Yeah.
thing if you'd like, but there's a
No, let's not. Let's not go there.
as I do.
The Zoom Alliance. Are you
I
going
hate
for
to
Zoom
say,
Alliance?
yeah, we'll go with the Zoom Alliance.
It feels like the safe one. Yeah, it was a bummer. I like Chrissy, and I did not. She was very like I don't know, kind, not kind. She was very like proper in what she was saying, but there was something about the way that she was talking at the jury round, like the jury portion, that I was like, take it, calm down. What's happening? I don't know. It felt very. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Didn't
Yeah, it
feel.
just felt like unnecessary and
Yeah. Which once
not
again,
like
Suri going after Joe was unnecessary. So it's not just her. Like multiple
yeah.
people did, and so
Yeah, it just like wasn't helpful, and it just felt like also I don't know if this is the right word to describe it, like almost uninformed. Like what she was saying
yeah,
was just like it's like I don't like are you watching the same thing? And I think like her specifically. I mean like I think her and Stephanie where it's like they're coming in just so fangirling over him and like I'm like, "Oh, so you're just like not even gonna you're not even gonna ask a question. You're not even gonna like pretend to be unbiased. You're not like, and it's just like very odd. And I don't know. I gotta say like I've never gone I think so high to so low on someone like Chrissy specifically. I think like
yeah,
because like Stephanie, it's like you know I this is who she is, right? Like I don't like. I expected this to a certain extent, you know. Like I've seen
hmm
her previous seasons. We've obviously seen her online, so it's like this isn't surprising, you know. Like it's not surprising when Coach is being coached, like. But like Chrissy,
yeah,
she was like one of my favorites to come back, and then just seeing like not even like the jury here, but just like she really contributed nothing to the season. And it's
yeah.
really like, oh wow, what did I ever see in your original season to think that you should
It
be
was
on
just
50?
against Ben. It's so
I
like condition based. It's so relative. It's like, oh, and she's against Ben. Yeah, all in on Chrissy.
which I think
She's.
I said this halfway through the season. I might be all in on Ben now. I think I have to
I
be.
love that for you. I love that for you.
I've gone full circle.
I love that for you. That's so great.
Oh man. All right.
Um,
Anyone else?
Thinking of our rankings that we did a while ago.
What was that?
Who?
Oh, the 50
So,
players.
yeah, our top 50 players.
Let me
Do you
pull that
think
up.
Aubrey moves up from where we put her?
Oh, 100%, right?
I almost don't want to tell you what I had for her original ranking when I first did this
Was it
because it is
not on
so
the 50?
incredibly disrespectful.
Was it
It was
not
out of the
on
top 50, which is crazy. Like even before the season, I think it was just instinct and I didn't realize how strong she was her second game as well. It's just incredibly disrespectful how low I put her.
Okay, where did I save this?
I have
Doc
it up right
now.
here. So we ended up putting her at 16.
Okay. So
So right above her is Earl, Coach, Michelle, Richard Hatch, Russell, Kim.
okay.
I think
I mean,
definitely leaps
hmm.
Earl, probably leaps Coach. Does she leap Michelle? That's the big question. Both have gotten to 2
I would
finales.
say no.
1-1, lost 1.
Like I don't know if this is a hot take. I would say Michelle's losing game in Winners at War is better than Aubrey's winning game here.
Interesting.
I'd have to really think about it. That's just off the
I could see an
that's off the
argument for
dome.
it. Yeah, I could see an argument for it.
Because I was pretty like I didn't think she should have won, but I was pretty bummed that she didn't even get a vote. Like I thought Michelle did
Mhm.
really good and proved why she did so well her winning season.
Mm-hmm.
Where could there be something said about Aubrey needing to come back so many times to get a win?
Yeah. And needing kind of that buffer like Tony did where you lose one pretty bad to then
Yeah,
be
lower
able
your
to
threat
come back
level.
and lower your threat level.
I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
I think I don't know. I could see putting her above Richard Hatch. We might have
Here's the
him
thing:
too high.
Aubrey and Michelle did go head to head, so like that.
They
There's that
do. They
too.
did. And without any like just straight up.
Right,
No
straight up.
baggage, no having played before, just fully straight up. Aubrey versus Michelle. So that's fair. That's a fair point. Is there anybody else that you think would like move up in this list? Like Suri, we have at 5. I don't think
Suri's tough. I don't think she
I could see
does.
maybe popping her up to 4, but that's as high as I think I can go with her.
Who was in 4th? Was it Sandra or Boston Rob? Sandra.
Sandra,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not against the argument of like putting her on the Mount Rushmore, and I've seen that conversation a lot online. Like, I think like a lot of people have, and I think Sandra is sometimes the person that's bumped. So like, I would entertain the conversation. I don't know if I could do it. Like, it's really tough to like bump a 2-time winner for someone who's never been to the end. Like, that's the thing. Like,
Mhm.
Suri's never been to the end. Like, that's tough.
Yeah. She has been screwed at least once
Well, yeah.
by a surprise final 2. Can we count that as screwed? Maybe not. That's fair. We have Ozzy at 21. Do you think his placement moves at all?
I think it would have to because I think this is the best game he's had in the past. Well, I don't know.
I still think just it was Suri's hand holding though. That was so much of it.
Sure,
Maybe
but
that's unfair,
like,
but I think that was a big piece of it.
I guess so. I think I would have to because like I would say this is like his third best game
Mm-hmm.
out of 5. So like, that has to
Yeah.
help a little bit.
Yeah. Sure.
Who's above him right now?
Cochran, Todd, Aris, Amanda, and then Aubrey.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, I don't think I can put him
Because
above
like
any of them.
once you get the winners, I mean, I would almost say Amanda maybe. Like, could we bump Amanda down? Did she really do better than Cochran? And like, the one-time
She
winners are
just
tough.
missing final tribal. The back-to-back final 2 is so impressive to me.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Let's see, anybody else? D is the next one that we have on our list. D we have at 34. But I don't think she did anything to improve her stock at all. I don't think she did anything to hurt it necessarily, but I don't think she improved at all.
I'm so sorry. Can you say that name again? I heard 34.
D.
D.
D. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
think
I
she did anything
think
to improve. I don't think she did anything to hurt either, though, would you say?
no, I think she's like right there. Like, what else could she do?
Mm-hmm.
Legitimately, like she was the final winner.
Ooh, an interesting one. Colby?
I think Colby goes up a little bit.
Okay. He would have to jump Malcolm and Tina. That's who we have right before or right ahead of him.
I would feel fine putting him above Malcolm.
Okay.
I mean, Tina again, head to head. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That's such
I
a
love that. That's such a fun thing.
Well, like when they land like that, just perfectly next to each other, like how can you
Yeah.
not acknowledge that? Like that happened before.
Then we have Kyle right after Colby. I don't think anything changes there. Honestly, I would think about bumping him up just by like how set up he seemed, but that's edit wise, so who knows?
That certainly is the biggest what if because I think too, like people were saying that Aubrey would have been the first to go on that original tribe. I don't know if that's true or not. Like maybe that's the edit trying to like get us to see her as like a bigger threat. But like if he doesn't go, I mean this season is just drastically different. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think forever we're gonna be talking about like if Kyle was in the game, could he have actually done some damage and would Aubrey even go past the first tribal council?
This is actually kind of a wild grouping of people who are on the season because you have Colby, then Kyle, then 2 spots that aren't on it, and then Stephanie and Devins, and then 1, and then Savannah. So I think Stephanie or Devins. I think Devins I don't know. I don't think Devins is a good player, but he's so fun.
I think he's right where he should be. Like, I think
Yeah.
this is just like, this is exactly what I expect. Some chaos, but not to make it to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie,
Savannah, I
no.
wouldn't touch.
No, Savannah. I mean, Savannah's like, I would love to see her play again when there's more than just like one winner per tribe. Because, like, I do think her win is still really good in hindsight, but like, what are you gonna do? Like, she's like the new winner that no one's played before. Like, I don't think she ever had a chance.
Mm-hmm. So our bottom 3 for this top 50, let's do that, is Jam Jam Rupert and Johnny Fairplay. Do you think Rizzo could potentially break into
Oh,
that
yeah,
top that? Yeah.
I think so for sure.
What about Jonathan?
I feel like you'd have to, like,
Yeah.
and this is removing my bias. Like, I don't think like particularly high, like maybe the 40 through 50 area for them. I think Rizzo versus Jonathan, like, who would you go higher, is an interesting conversation.
What about Joe?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. You have to think about it. Tiffany?
You do.
Tiffany, like back to back.
I
5
don't
and
think
7?
she cracks the top 50.
Okay.
But I think that's interesting because, like, if you look at other people on this list who haven't made Final Tribal before, it's like Devins. Like, do we have Christian on this list? I'm sure we do, right?
I don't think we do, and
We don't.
he's not in our 50. I don't think so.
Interesting.
No, he didn't break it.
See, I would almost like.
Because he finished like 7th.
Devins is the interesting one because I think like, how are we justifying Devins on this list other than he's just fun to watch? You know, like I think Tiffany might be a better player.
He wins the game is the thing, and yeah, that's a good argument. But I think that my argument, who added Devins to this? You picked Devins to be in that.
I'm
spot.
sure I did. Yeah.
I had set Devins once again way higher than he should have been in my initial ranking. But I think that's it. Like his first game, yeah, he got voted out, but he was going to win if he won that fire making challenge. I think that's pretty confidently we can say that. And so I see what you're saying. Where like, does he really deserve to be that high? Maybe not, but there's something to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kind of surprised that we didn't have Christian, but like, I don't know. Tiffany. I hope Tiffany does more. I could see her doing really well, like on the challenge. I think.
Yeah.
She was definitely one where, like, going into the season, I was like, why her? But I get it now. Like, I see the vision, and she's good TV, and I think she could be good. But unfortunately, I do think like she's gonna have a threat level any returning season she's on now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. She certainly is.
Well,
I gotta update my winter rankings and season rankings.
can't wait for that.
I fear it will be. She might be a mid level winner.
It's not a. I hate to say it. It's not a strong win. Like as much as I think she deserved it, I do think she deserved it by getting out the better play. You know what I mean? Like it is just about who you're sitting next to. There's some players that they play such a strong game that it doesn't matter who they're sitting next to. Not the case with her. I think she needed to be sitting next to these people to win. So congrats. She deserved it. She earned it. But like, I don't think it's a particularly strong win.
Her win versus Jam Jam's win. What would you take?
I would take her, I think.
Yeah. What about Adam?
Is she? Oh, Adam.
This is my list. Okay, then you'd have her at 32nd.
All right, that feels right. Off the dome.
Honestly, I was thinking that C tier.
As far as new era winners, because is this a new era season?
New
like
era
41 to 50?
The only new era I've Marianne above that. And this is just my personal rankings. So Savannah, Rachel, D, Kyle. So like I'd say mid in current era and modern.
Yeah, I would say all those people you named are higher than her.
Yeah.
She's probably better than Erica, Gabler, Jam Jam, and Kenzie.
Oh, I definitely have Kenzie higher. I have Kenzie a little bit higher. I have
I,
Kenzie
I
at
do like
26.
Kenzie's win. I do like her win.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think her and Aubrey's wins are pretty comparable.
Mm-hmm. You'd probably be mad where I have Denise too. We've gotten through that fight before. We don't need to do that again.
I think
Season
Denise is
wise,
a good
it's
player.
pretty low as well, right?
Yeah, I was not a fan. Like, I hate to say it, but I think like when you look at the final product and seeing the whole, like, were there some good individual moments and good episodes? Yeah, but like I don't foresee this being a season I revisit, and I think especially comparing to other returning seasons, I think this is much more like Game Changers than it is like Second Chances or Winners at War or
Looking at
Heroes
Game
vs. Villain.
Changers.
You know what I mean? Like,
I was about to ask you Game Changers of this one.
I mean, probably this one just over like the
Yeah.
people I like on here a little better. But
True. That some
anyone
of
I
them are
like on Game Changers was on this season too. How about that?
yeah, so it just balances out perfectly.
Yeah, it's
I love it.
Aubrey, Suri, and Ozzy.
Just
Who
those
else
three.
was on there? I guess JT
Malcolm
was kind of
on
cool.
there. Zeke was on there. I like those guys.
Sure, I
Um,
guess.
Who else was in there?
Sierra,
Yeah,
Troyzan,
she voted out her mom.
Ty, Debbie.
Yeah, I don't care about Ty.
You love
I'm a
Debbie.
big Debbie fan. I will.
Debbie going on the boat with Cochran.
Them, still one of my favorite Survivor editing things ever is them giving her a different occupation every single time they put her name for a confessional. Kills me. It's so funny every time.
Yeah, what a game changer she was.
Yeah, just changed the game, dude.
The one I always think about is Haley. Just one of the most forgettable players ever. But because of that, I always remember her. Like when I think of game changers, like, oh yeah, Haley, she changed the game.
I was over at a friend's house the other day and they were just watching, I think, Second Chances. Was it? Yeah, it was Second Chances. And it was that girl Monica. I can't even remember who, like, just like the most random. And I was like, I genuinely was like, who is that? Which isn't, if it's a returning season, I usually know everybody. Like I know Survivor pretty well. And I was genuinely like, who is that? Why is she here? I don't remember her at all. I don't remember what season she's from or anything.
No, it's hilarious to look at some of the returning seasons, especially I feel like those middle, like, I mean, like the second fans versus favorites is just laugh out
Yeah.
loud hilarious. That is a hilarious cast.
I don't think any of those people are favorites.
No,
Truly.
I like we're talking like is Brenda the most favorite there? Brenda and Cochran? Malcolm was
Gotta
there.
be. Philip Shepard. There's a
yeah.
certain love for him.
And like
I love him in the same
Dawn.
way that I love what's his face? Coach, where it's just like you're just such a ridiculous person.
Mm-hmm. It's that, and then the Blood vs. Water, where it's just the most, where it's like you got like Kat, and you got
Yeah. They just wanted Hayden. They just
Colton.
genuinely for sure
and-
only got Kat so that they could have Hayden.
Was that also a Monica? I think that was Culpepper, right?
Yeah, Culpepper, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, okay, sure, I guess.
That was to get her former NFL player husband.
Right,
for
right,
sure. Like
right.
half of them were like, we actually really like the people you're related to, so can we bring them in?
Yeah.
You know what's
All right.
insane? Just
What?
we talked about immunity wins early on in this episode. Both the men's and women's immunity record was set in the first 2 seasons and has never been broken. It's been tied, but it's never been broken.
I feel like that makes sense. And I wonder if I would love to look back at what the challenges were. Because
You
like
want
it's
me to
like
tell you, I have them.
it's like Colby, right?
Colby at Final 7, start fire on one end of teeter-totter, then raise the fire by filling a bucket.
Oh, that's cute.
Players shoot slingshots at plates. Jeff tells stories. Players run to stations. First to get 8 keys wins.
Well, I just say that because like I wonder if they have just tried to make adjustments to make it more balanced. Like, did they see that and being like, "Oh, Colby
yeah.
like won all these challenges. Do we need to try to fix this?" And so now when someone does it, it's seen as like this crazy impressive thing where
Mhm.
now a lot of the challenges, like, I mean, they couldn't be more balanced. Like, it's every single one is like a combination of like strength and puzzle, or it's endurance. It's like one of those two things. So it's like,
Yeah.
could Jonathan break the record? Absolutely, but we're gonna put a puzzle at the end, so like to stump him, and it sometimes
Mhm.
works.
Mhm.
That guy's not good with puzzles.
Yeah. Absolutely. I might actually do the Jeff tells stories and then players run to stations. I might do that challenge.
I will say I do miss like the fact that Suri will never win an immunity challenge is a bummer, but like 20, 30 years ago she could have because a lot of
Yeah.
times they were just like these little silly games. Like I wish we got more of that. I really do.
And the absolute buzzsaw that is Terry Dietz.
You know what we didn't talk about at all, and we should end this episode, but we didn't talk
We're
about
still
season
going. We can talk about it.
51 at all.
Oh yeah. You have
Where
stuff to say?
it is the open era where any twist
Oh,
that has ever existed could happen at any moment.
I'm interested.
I'm not. I'm so disinterested.
So like if it's like this season where it's twist after twist after twist, not interested. If it's like, hey, it's season 51, we're doing Redemption Island. We haven't done it in years. We're doing Redemption Island again. And that's like the twist of the season is we're bringing back Redemption Island. I'm in on that. Like let's get funky with it. But if it's like, all right, we're going to do Redemption Island, we're also going to do you have to go do a puzzle and if you don't get it then Jimmy Fallon comes and tells everybody that you don't have a vote. And then we're also going to do like you know what I mean? Like just adding all of these different twists, I'm out. But just some of the most absurd ones from way back in the day, I'm in.
Well, you know that's not what they're gonna do, right? Like it is just gonna be
No.
twist after twist after twist.
Well, yeah, but I can hope.
Jeff straight up said that this was like season 50 was a test to see how it would go, twist after twist, and
I hope that.
he thinks it worked. I don't know, man. It's gonna be really tough to get me back in. I'll just be honest. It's gonna be really
Fair.
tough.
It's fair. I'll still
I
probably
have-
watch, but I'll probably lose it, especially if a returning season happens again. I'm all in. But
Yeah. At this point, I have just very little motivation to watch 21 new players on 3 tribes have twist after twist after twist. But
yeah,
who knows?
one big thing that we didn't mention, the car curse is broken.
I mean, we did mention it when we talked about how long it took her to go down that hallway, but
Yeah, but we didn't talk about how excited we are that the curse is broken.
yeah. When was the last time they gave a car?
It might have been dreams. They might have been like, man, that was we ruined that young man's life. Maybe we shouldn't give away cars anymore.
Yeah,
No,
I
there
don't.
was cars after that.
I honestly don't even remember. So like, I can't even like. Why are we bringing this up as if it's like a known thing that?
It was always cool when it was a car plus like you drove like a bunch of toys to a village and gave it to a bunch of like kids.
Yeah, you would like
That was always fun. Like, did it actually like do much for the kid? I don't know. I don't know that it was like the most. You know what I mean? But like that was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it was fun.
Fiji
love
doesn't
giving
have
toys to kids.
Though. I've heard that.
That's why Jeff loves it so much. He was sick of going to Africa and going to the village just to hang out with children.
It's a crazy accusation.
Dude, Jeff hates African children. Haven't you heard?
I disavow, Jeff. Disavow.
All right. I'm ending this.
You should.
All right. For more episodes, you know where to find us. We are... Where are we at? Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere listen to podcasts. We are on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube at NGAP Pod. That's at NGAP Pod. I'm Nathan, this is Tony, and we will see you next time.
18 seasons, 2 pals, 1 podcast.